this has been a very interesting start to the week. 2-3 trades today. The first trade that I took was a loss. Second trade was a +3R, which is ended up making the day +2. Then took a trade in the New York session, which I was aiming for 8.7. Ended up managing the trade entirely differently, scaling out at 6.1R, and then collapsing the rest of my position at 9.38R, which kind of brought the whole trade down to 6.87, 6.89R. And that's me being done for the day. Now, I want to say something here. I haven't done anything differently. Last 2 weeks has been a bloody grind, and I don't know what the rest of the week is going to look like. This could just be the only good day I have this week. Or maybe I will have more good days this week, but I haven't changed the strategy. I haven't done anything different. And that's something that over time, I have just understood that just because you're having a losing trade or probably even a losing streak, it doesn't mean anything. It's just part of your edge playing out, which is the losses come and then the winners would come as well. But Friday and Monday has basically put me in a very good position, whilst the rest of the days before Friday and this whole month has just been weird. Anyways, let's just dive right in. So the first thing I looked at was how the Sunday open happened. So we opened on Sunday with a gap down. Now that gap was aggressively being filled, and where did it fill into? Filled into the 15-minute candle. This was it, but I still wanted price to come out and take out this high. So what I was looking out for was 5 minutes. Now on the 5 minutes, we had this level here. So I refined this down to this point. So refine that down to this point. This was my range high here. Just to do this, let's do this. So let's just call this, this was my range high. And here was my range low. Just make a couple of edits to this. Range high, range low, great. And I had my equilibrium point here. So whenever I'm trading a range, the one thing I always want is when price gets to the EQ, I don't like seeing price stall. I like to see a clean break. I want to see price have a clean break of that level, pushing either above or below, depending on where my position is for the day. Now, this is what I was looking at. For London, I wanted to see price push higher into the M5 candle here, get a bearish break of structure lower, and then I wanted to short all the way down to this level. Now, why I was looking at this level as well is because, as you can see here, we have double bottoms here. So this was a key area for me as well, and a place that I'm looking for price to take out. So this is the plan, and now let's forward it to when I got engaged at the chart. So I'm not going to do anything till price engages one of these levels, and I'm waiting. It's 8 a.m. The London Q-zone has started, and we have this here. So price takes out that level, pushes into the key level that I'm looking out for. Now what I'm looking out for next is some bearish break of structure lower, so that I can dive in, do what I'm meant to do with the markets. So wait, patience is everything. And finally, we are about to get the break of structure lower here. Now, this price movement here, which I indicated in the Discord chat, this price movement here was very important to me. I'm trying to look for the paintbrush. This price movement here was very important to me, and the reason why is because in as much as price kept on trying to push higher, if you notice this high here, and all the bodies of these candles here, none of them were closing above, just wicks. All of them were just weak, but nobody of the candle was able to close above this high here, basically leaving all of this to just be wicks. That showed me that sellers were in control, and it more solidified my bias that, okay, you know what, I really want to sell during the London Q-zone, and that's what I was aiming for. Now, with that, having that in mind, let's go back to where I finally engaged the markets. Great, we get this break of structure here. So get the structure shift here. This is where I was deciding to sell from, using that candle as my structure. So if I do this, great. So this was my first entry for 7 I added an extra 1 pip just as I mentioned in the last video, and I was aiming for this low here. Now, as I mentioned, I don't really care about price trading towards only the extremes of the price levels that I'm looking for, because what if price comes really close to, you know, doing this and then that doesn't work out? What do you then do? So what I did was I decided to get out at this point here. You see that? That's where I wanted to get out from. This level here, this is where I wanted to really get out from. Now, having that in the back of my mind, let's see how the price played out. Mind you, I'm watching out for the news because we had a news by 9:30. So I knew that there's a very high chance that price is going to probably mess me up by 9:30. As soon as this happened, by 9:30, I got taken out with that loss. But then again, one thing I noticed was this. Now, talking about being able to read price as it is happening, right? Again, that 9:30 candle, guess what? It closed below here, still refused to push and close above the range high. And when that happened, I took a second position just as the candle, I waited for the candle to close. As soon as that candle closed, I took a second position, had my stops here, added an extra 1 pip, 9.6. I hope I'm right about this. I mean, I'll go back and look at the Discord. 9.6, same thing, wanted to get out here. And it was around 3R, based off my broker. It wasn't actually 3.4, so probably around here. So 3R, and then this is where the real trade actually happened. So that 9:30 news just came out to basically mess people like me up. And then talking about the EQ, see how we get this sharp close below this EQ. This is what I'm always looking for whenever I draw out an EQ in a range. And then price drops, and that's it. I got out at this point. That happened. I calling it a day for London session. I didn't have any more setups. I wanted to wait for New York. So now going into New York session, we are at a discount, and New York session starts for me by 1 p.m., which is 8 a.m. London time, New York time. So if we are to map that out, great. I'm always on the chart around 12:50. All right, great. So we're just going to forward the charts leading to that point. Great. So this is 12:50. This is exactly why I came back to the charts. And I came back to the charts around here. Now, the first thing I'm looking at is fine, we are at a discount in price. But why should I be buying from here? And if I'm buying, where do I want to get out from? And if I'm getting out from there, where do I plan to manage? How do I plan to manage this whole trade? Everything is running through my mind. Excuse me. Having this in mind here, the first thing I'm looking at is why is price reacting from here? Why is price reacting from here? If you notice, price smoothly rejected from here, dipped into somewhere, right? And then pushes higher, drops back down, pushes higher again. So again, if you want to know what's going to happen on the right side of the screen, look towards the left side of the screen. If we go up to the 15-minute time frame, go all the way back, the price reaction was coming from here. Just going to do a couple of things. So, feel right. Great. So that's a fair value gap, right? This here is a fair value gap. Price is pushing into an order block from May 20th. Now you can see whenever price dips into that zone, it quickly rejects. Now dropping back to the 5-minute time frame, I used Euro USD and DXY to make sure that this was the right trade. We created, I really don't know what to call this, but anyways, there's a low. No, I'm just going to do this. I always just mess this up for some weird reason. Great. So price drops, makes a higher low, right? Now, if you go to Euro USD, can I switch to charts? If I switch to charts, it's going to mess up the replay feature. But summary, on Euro USD, same thing, DXY, same thing. I'm said, okay, fine. If everything is showing up correct on all pairs, now what else am I looking out for? Here we have the break of structure. Multiple breaks of structures actually. The price takes out all the way to this level. So here we have the break of structure. Have a fair value gap here. Great, have a fair value gap here. Now what I do is I go ahead and I set a buy limit here. What I do is I set a buy limit here where I wanted to see price moving to 5.7. I'm really trying to keep this video short because I realize some people make things really complicated, and honestly, I probably have two brain cells. I don't think too much about my trade. It's either the chart is showing me something or it isn't, and if it is, I try to make it as simple as possible and not overcomplicate things. So yes, this here was the setup that I was going for. So I added an extra 1 pip to this low here, had a fair value gap, price trades higher, got a break of structure. Now I'm waiting for price to drop into this level so that I buy from here. I always, 90% of my trades are limit orders. I hardly do market executions. It's just better for me emotionally to just process that. Anyways, have that here. Now, trouble areas I'm looking out for is here. So first trouble area I'm looking out for is the range low. Why? Is because this is an old point of where price, to call it liquidity if you wish, breaks below that, retest that level. So I'm thinking to myself, price may come back here, right, and retest this level and just drop all the way back down. So I needed to have an area where I wanted to manage the trade. Now, where I wanted to manage the trade was here. Once price rushes to this level, I am going to break even this trade. And then I'll be risk-free, waiting for price to do whatever it is it needs to do without having my emotions or my capital involved in this. Excuse me, involved in this. So that being said, we wait, and I think it took like 4, 5, 20 minutes or so. Finally, we get the push into the level, then the rejection starts. At this level, I go risk-free. As soon as price takes at this level, I go risk-free. We test out the range low. I'm waiting to see how the next candle forms. I love this big push. So when we get this big push, my next area of concern, which is my next trouble area, is the EQ. I want to see how price reacts around the EQ, and you get to see why I reacted this way to this trade. So we get a push above the EQ. I said, okay, fine, that's good. But then quickly, price is testing that level. I wasn't comfortable with seeing price constantly test this level, so I took out 2 positions. So I managed the trade twice here. So at this point, I collapsed 75% of my position here. 5% was collapsed here. At break even, had 25% running, aiming for this high. Now, we had news coming out by 3 p.m. existing home sales. So that's what I was waiting for. Now, I'll just forward this twice. So at this point, now, if I have price really close to my TP and news is coming out, I tend to do something at times, which is if I have already banked something on the trade, right, my stops are at break even or in profit. In this case, I had moved my stops to, I think it was this low if I'm not wrong. Either this low was 3397. Yeah, so I moved my stops here. So I had moved my stops to 3397, which I would get to show what the Discord chart looked like. It was 3397, yeah. So now my stops are at this level. Just make it a different color, red, great. So now my stops are at this level. I've collapsed 25% of my position. I take off my TP because I just want to watch price. Mind you, sorry, I have point of correction. My TP was never 9.6 hour. I was aiming for 8.7. Yes, so I was aiming for 8.7. Why was I aiming for 8.7 as opposed to aiming for that high? It was because of this here. So price could have easily run into this candle, rejected, and just tanked, and I'll be left with as handed to me. Anyways, this is not what I wanted, so I was aiming for just price to move into this level and then I'll get out. So as soon as we have this news is about to release, I have my stops in profit. I've collapsed 75% of my position. I take off my TP and I just watch price. Now what I'm looking out for is to see how the news candle reacts, and if the news candle reacts, I will wait for the news candle's close. Right, so having that in the back of my mind, I've taken off my TP. We have this, great. So you see price reacts at the close of this candle, so I get out of the trade here. This is 10.6, it was actually 9 point something. I don't know why I changed 10.6. Actually 9.7, maybe I'm not drawing it out properly, but I'll get to show all the charts. It was actually 9 point something R, so this is where I finally collapsed the position. And if you are following cable, price pretty much traded much higher, but I have no concern of this. So this is me done for the day. This is a trade here. First loss, second position, scaled out the two positions here, finally got out, as I said, the news candle here. This was the Discord. This here is the Discord, so thought process throughout the whole day, breaking down everything that I'm thinking, refining it down to the 5 minutes, explaining why the wicks of the candles are being held up at that position. First trade, got stopped out. Second trade, TP got hit. Then New York, going into New York, I was aiming for 8.7 hour. Fair value, got into the trade. This is why I scaled out most of my position. As you can see, scaled out at 6.1 hour. I mistakenly said it was 7 hour, but it wasn't 7 hour. I'm watching out for news as well. Then that happens, I get out of my final position here. That's it, done for the day. I think it's almost a 9 hour day, around 8 point something. I think it's 8.8 hour day, I think. Yep, that's it, done for the day. We'll see what tomorrow holds and the rest of the week. And if I take any trades that I deem probably I should break down, then I'll definitely will break it down and share it with everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.